42-14. Purdue leading Nebraska 42-23 in the fourth quarter. Penn State is shutting out Illinois in the fourth, 32-0. Texas A&M leading South Carolina 35-28. That's in the fourth. Also in the fourth, Cincinnati leading UCF 52-7. But the story there is quarterback Gunnar Kiel of Cincinnati, 15 of 15 for 319 yards and 5 touchdowns in the game. We'll keep you posted. Coming up, number 3, Clemson and NC State. Major League Baseball World Series action, Game 4 coming up at 8:07 Eastern Time tonight. Royals lead the Mets 2-1, and the Mets' Lucas Duda says the series, though, is far from over.
By no means are we done. We dug ourselves a little bit of a hole here, but we're used to it. We're used to coming back and fighting back, and it should be fun at home.
Chris Young for Kansas City against Steven Matz of the Mets at 8:07 Eastern Time. NFL, big game Sunday night on NBC, Denver and Green Bay. It's all about the quarterbacks. Broncos quarterback Peyton Manning says his team has been preparing hard.
Well, we know what a challenge we have in playing the Green Bay Packers, but we have to get ready for them. I think for us to say that we're getting ready for them differently than other teams would be, it wouldn't be true, but it would be obviously you weren't preparing the right way for the teams we played the past 6 weeks. I mean, the job in the NFL is to get ready to play every single week. That's your job. That's what you're supposed to do. So you have to prepare hard every single week, and that's what we'll do this week.
Jeff Nathanson, NBC Sports Radio.
This is KCAA.
Here's all you need to know. There's a new cool way to sell your unwanted stuff online. It's buysellmakeoffer.com. buysellmakeoffer.com. You're not going to believe it. Join the legions of web sellers and buyers who are turning to buysellmakeoffer.com today. Never pay fees again. For low monthly membership of $7.95, you can sell up to 50 items, and there's a 60-day free trial membership to get you started. You can even produce your own infomercial to sell your products and upload the video for the world to see. Go right now to buysellmakeoffer.com.
As the owner of my business, I wear a lot of hats. I'm accounting, sales, and so much more. But I don't know marketing.
Let Dex Media be your marketing department. Our team can create a digital plan for you with everything from search to social. Contact Dex Media, that's DEX Media, to get found, get chosen, and get talked about.
Whoa, that's a job for cleanup, which would be me.
Call 844-230-3436 or visit dexmedia.com today.
Kcaa.
We found the problem with your car.
And
Turns out the carburetor differential modulator is out.
what?
And while we were digging around in there, this thing fell off.
Stop. There's no automotive repair nightmares at Diego Martinez's 5-Star Automotive in San Bernardino. 5-Star Automotive, where you'll get a great experience and home of the $15.99 oil change. That's right, just $15.99. They specialize in transmissions, brake repair, AC, and many other repairs, all with a lifetime warranty on parts and labor. Diego knows when your auto needs 5-star attention, it's never convenient. He offers a 12-month interest-free auto repair loan on major auto repairs with no money down. He'll even throw in free towing and a 10% discount for his neighbors in the 909 who work for the city and county of San Bernardino. Call 909-387-0770. That's 387-0770. Your neighbors at 909 West 2nd Street in San Bernardino.
Hey, this is Di Rice. The staff here at KCAA wants to remind you that Halloween night, Sunday morning, will be time to set our clocks to standard time. Digital clocks should automatically fall backward. If your clocks don't reset themselves, be sure to turn them back 1 hour. And while you're checking your alarm clock radio, make sure you set it to wake up to the station that leaves no listener behind. KCAA 1050 AM and now 106.5 FM.
Listen to KCAA Loma Linda for less confrontation and more information.
Welcome to I'm Mad as Hell with Lloyd Brock and Greg Simpson. Now, if you want to share your anger, this is the station, KCAA, every Saturday at 12 noon. If you're mad as hell at the government, politicians, IRS, your bank, a car dealer, or the court system, let us know. You may want to be one of our in-studio guests, or just call in and vent that anger. 1-888-909-1050 or 909-888-5222 locally. We may not be able to resolve your individual problems, but we will give you a forum to share your anger with our listeners. Now, join us at KCAA 1050 AM and at kcaaradio.com or check us out at Ustream. Now, here's Lloyd and Greg.
I'm not going to take it anymore. I'm mad as hell.
What are you mad as hell about today, Lloyd? It's a beautiful day.
Just read it and weep.
Okay.
I got this out of the newspaper, the LA Times. Of course, you hear it on all the news.
You got some
but
tissue?
6,000 drug offenders are going to be released to U.S. custody. I guess they're already out there.
Oh, boy.
And, I mean, you know, they said these are not major offenders. I've got news for you. They just didn't catch them doing anything.
Don't they just give tickets to the not major offenders anymore?
Well, if you try to take the drugs away from them, if they're manufacturing,
exactly.
You know, see how violent they can get.
Absolutely.
You know, so they're some of the most violent criminals out there, and yet the federals are opening their doors and letting them out, including 1,765 who are not citizens, illegal aliens. They're turning it over to Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and most will be deported. And they come right back through that.
Sure, and bring another load of medication?
Yes, everything.
Everything.
I mean, you know, I don't know how we can stop them, but that's the story. Probably it will increase the crime rate in your neighborhood and everywhere else. What are you mad as hell about?
Well, I'm mad as hell about... Well, really, I'm not so mad because something is being done. On Halloween, you know, these little kids are out there pretty helpless. They should never be unattended by an adult, ever, at any door. But they've got the Department of Corrections, the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation has been imposing a special parole condition on known sex offenders on Halloween. And these deals are a special curfew. The sex offenders can't have their porch lights on. They can't pass out trick-or-treat candy. They can't even answer the door when a trick-or-treater, if a trick-or-treater was to come to their door. And then even the transients have a special setup. From 5 to 10, they have a special place for them to meet and stay until after the threat to these little kids is over.
Yeah, but who's going to enforce that?
Well, yeah, really, who's going to enforce it? That's
you got
true.
Transits, sex offending transit.
Well, they do have an outfit that's called Kids Live Safe and .com. You can go there and it costs $1, and you can find out where the sex offenders are in your neighborhood. That's the first deal. You have some control yourself.
Well, yeah, but I've seen a lot of kids come to my door, and they're just little kids, and
Yeah,
there's no supervision of adults.
Well,
I could have grabbed these kids, brought them inside.
Yeah, that's the factor that makes me mad, is that parents don't take control of their kids. This is a situation they can prevent always by being there at the kids' side so somebody can't prey on them.
Yeah, but that's a problem. It has been for years.
I mean, even an older brother or sister, you know, and a teenage brother or sister is better than what they're doing. Like you say, a 4 or 5-year-old looks so precious coming to your door, but who's taking care of them?
Yeah, I see it, and then you should also look at the candy that they receive.
Absolutely.
Make sure it's totally wrapped. I mean, you know, you hear stories about razor blades in apples.
Yeah, you don't hear the stories anymore or as much as you used to. You know, there for a while they were so prevalent it was unbelievable. But
yeah, they were giving drugs to kids last year.
Last year was drugs, huh?
Yeah. So you got to be very careful.
Yes.
And keep your kids, you know.
Keep them safe. Keep them away from the streets, too. Keep them from getting run over by somebody that's had too much something before, and they're out driving their cars.
Yeah, under supervision.
Sure.
Say, today we don't have a guest in studio.
Okay, how are we going to have this guest?
She's going to call.
Okay.
And let me give you a little background.
Boy, you got an hour?
No, I mean, well, her background's quite impressive.
Yes, it is.
It's our guest today is going to be Sheila Lowe. She's a world-renowned handwriting expert with more than 40 years' experience in the field of handwriting. Sheila Lowe has been qualified as a handwriting expert in the California court system since 1985, and she holds a master's degree in psychology and was certified by the American Handwriting Analysis Foundation in 1981, as well as the Society of Handwriting Analysis in 1985. In 2012, Sheila was elected president of American Handwriting Analysis Foundation. Now, that's quite impressive. A lot of people equate handwriting analysis with astrology, but that's dead wrong.
That was one of my first thoughts when you mentioned it.
It's a valid science. In fact, in Europe, they offer degrees in handwriting analysis. But Sheila's handwriting analysis practice covers a wide spectrum from personality evaluations to handwriting authentication to lecturing, teaching, and writing about handwriting. She has a clientele that includes a variety of businesses and industry types, as well as legal, medical, mental health fields based in the United States, and she serves clients around the world. Sheila Lowe and Associates is the right choice for the employers interested in the following: human resource management, integrity screening, Salesforce building, and I've used that before.
Have you?
Yeah, the best salesman you can tell with their handwriting.
Okay.
You know, I look for that, and the winners.
Well, you're an expert yourself.
Well, I work for Treasury Department. I'm not nearly as good as Sheila, but I know something about it.
Right.
And drawing, she also appears at different conventions and trade shows, and she draws people to the booth.
Uh-huh.
Private investigations retain Sheila Lowe and Associates in cases of anonymous notes, harassment, and screening of surrogate parents, adoptive parents, as well as employment and other types of background checks. So, and she's written several books.
Okay.
Well, today we have the honor of having her on the phone, and then she's going to discuss the personality profiles of our presidential candidates.
Oh, wow. That ought to be interesting. That ought to have a little snap to it.
Some don't write much. All they do is do their signature, and your signature is your public image. So you can only project if you don't have the rest of the writing.
Mm-hmm.
So these are all important factors. But, you know, I bet you a lot of people didn't realize how much is involved in handwriting.
Oh, yes.
Your total personality is there. And just, we've got Sheila on the line now. Welcome, Sheila.
Hi, thank you.
Welcome.
Yes, and what are you mad as hell about?
Well, I'm mad as hell that the Common Core curriculum has taken the requirement to teach handwriting in public schools.
Well, yeah, that's a big problem, and you know, more people are starting to print than write.
Yeah.
Why is that trend so popular?
Well, it's a big issue, but basically, a lot of the schools are taking away the time that they used to use for penmanship training, and they feel that because we're using keyboards so much that handwriting isn't important, but they couldn't be more wrong, and especially when we're talking about small children, because the recent research shows that children who learn to write in cursive at a young age have better brain development. They are able to spell better. They remember better. They learn better. So the research backs that up.
Okay, you people, pay attention to that. Have your children learn cursive. If you have to, teach it at home.
Sure.
That's right. And there are lots of places. Well, let me give you one resource. It's called cursiveiscool.com.
Okay.
And that gives you a lot of information on where to go. And, yeah, cursive is cool.
On your website, you say 48 states. What states are allowing the cursive? Where is it still being taught?
It's actually that there's more like 7 states now that I'm aware of where it is being taught. And they're mostly southern states. And Ohio had an effort. South Carolina,
Is this a result of your work? Is this a result of your work at it?
Well, it's the organization that you mentioned that I'm the president of, the American Handwriting Analysis Foundation, has a committee called Campaign for Cursive. And that's the group that runs Cursive is Cool. So it's the effort of them, and especially Dana Scott, who is the chair of that committee.
We need more. What can somebody do? Write our congressmen and senators and see if we can renew this?
Absolutely.
Maybe a bill should be. Yeah.
It depends on the school district. It doesn't. The Common Core doesn't say you can't teach it. It just says you don't have to.
Oh. I think that should be changed.
Yes, I agree.
But at any rate.
So that's the last thing I'll say about that is that if you go to cursiveiscool.com, there is a link there that shows what you can do, some of the ways that you can be involved. And a lot of grandparents are being involved because they care about the fact that their kids can't even read a birthday card that they write.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, most of the handwriting I see today is terrible. It's just not what it used
ours
to
has
be.
Ours has gotten terrible over age, but
not mine.
Yours is still good. Good.
Still good.
Mine is failing. I'm going the other way, unfortunately.
Before we get into the presidential handwriting, there was an article in the LA Times recently by Joyce Russell, and it was narcissistic leaders in politics and work. Narcissism.
Easy for you
and
to say.
And they're saying that, and there was a couple of psychiatrists that backed this up, and they said narcissism in the workplace and politics, the negative qualities of narcissistic leaders are as follows. They have a very high need for attention and admiration and show less concern for others. They have excessive love and admiration of themselves and an inflated sense of self-worth. They look at themselves as with undue favor, self-love, conceit, pride, and vanity. They lack empathy for others since they are so preoccupied with themselves. They may act immaturely, for example, use appropriate humor and gestures to draw attention to themselves. They may act in grandiose and exhibitionist ways. They like being the center of attention. They don't think that anyone has a right to criticize them, and they complain about criticism, and they blame others. If they fail at something, they blame others. So all of these things, I mean, I think that we've had quite a few presidents who were guilty of these, and I'm wondering if anybody is guilty of them now.
Yeah, I have the same concern.
No, I think we've seen a lot of those behaviors in some of the candidates, and it is reflected in those handwritings that we have.
Yeah, it is. When I saw, years when Obama first got elected, there was 2 psychiatrists that came out and said that he had narcissism. So, what do you think?
Well, I think that every that to even want to be president, you've got to have a certain amount of narcissism.
Oh yeah.
Or you wouldn't put yourself through that.
That's right.
Probably.
I happen to think that President Obama has really terrific handwriting from a handwriting analyst point of view. His signature is kind of unusual, and it has. If they just looked at those, if you just look at the signature, that only tells you about the person's public image. It's what they want to show the world. So it's really important to look beyond that.
Oh, yeah, that's
and
why I
see
say
more writing.
some of these signatures from our GOP candidates today are just signatures. You can't find any other writing. So maybe they don't want to show you their real self here again.
Exactly. And the two scary ones are Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz from that viewpoint.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
What can you tell about their signature?
Well, Marco Rubio, his signature is just, and I've looked to see if he just did it this time, but this is consistent. And he just has the capital letters, MR. And the M is very wide, and it's taller than the R. So what that kind of a signature says is that it hides almost everything about him. And then there's this closed hook on the beginning of the M, which it says he jealously guards his secrets.
Uh-huh.
But the width and the height of the M in the first name
well, at
more
least,
than the second name.
At least he won't blab secrets to
yeah, at least he won't tell everybody, right?
Yeah.
Well, he keeps his own secrets. I don't know about other people's because I don't see more of his writing.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
He wants to present himself as really strong and significant. Well, like some of those descriptors that you read. He's more interested in projecting who he has become than where he came from.
Well, someone
but
said
I also see that kind of signature as being somewhat insecure.
Could you analyze some writings like in college or something that he hand wrote at another time? Could you look at some of that and make a
decision
on who he was with that?
Well, the opinion that I would give would be based on, if they were written in college, then that would reflect who he was at that time.
Okay.
Which may or may not be the same as now.
people change over the years, and when I did celebrity handwriting on some of the athletes, their handwriting changed radically over the years, and some didn't, but a lot became drug addicts and alcoholics, and that really changed their handwriting.
Okay.
So,
definitely.
So who else should we know about?
Well, I'd like to contrast Donald Trump and Jeb Bush.
Okay.
Because I have more than just the signature in those cases, and their handwritings are so very different. So should we go there next?
Sure.
Okay. So Donald Trump, he writes in a block capital printing, which a lot of people do, but we have to look. Well, let me back up and say that no one piece of handwriting is significant outside of the context of that writing. So you can't say this means that always. We have to look at the whole picture.
Right.
So having said that, he writes in block printing. He does a lot of underlining and exclamation points. And then his signature is extremely angular. And it's different from the rest of his writing. So when you have a signature that's very different from the rest of the writing, that says what you see is not what you get.
Yeah, that's
true. I don't know if you remember Flip Wilson from the 70s? He used to say, what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
Okay, well, with a different signature, what you see is not what you get. So what the person is presenting to the world is not necessarily who they are inside. So his signature is extremely aggressive. Kind of reminds me of Himmler's signature.
I saw one that he did in 1980s, and it was entirely different. I could read it. You can't read this. It's very angular. Just looks like up and down, shark's teeth.
Exactly. And I heard somebody say it looked like barbed wire.
Yeah, well, and that's, and that shows abrasiveness too, doesn't it?
It shows a very aggressive and a lack of flexibility. There's a lot of energy in his signature, but it's held back. He's not somebody who gives easily. He wants everybody else to adjust to him.
Yeah.
There's no flexibility there.
Mm-hmm. But what about the rest of the writing outside of the signature?
To me, it's kind of a square-looking writing, and squares are a sign of a need for security. Now, we know he has more money than God because he likes to tell us that all the time.
Yeah,
But
that's
we're not
true.
talking about, we're not talking about that kind of security. He has a strong need for emotional security. The other thing about his writing is he always writes on a slant, like he turns. I don't know what you call that. I can't think of the word. Where it's like, oh God, I can't. Sorry, I can't think of the word. But his writing goes at a big slant.
Oh,
And
yeah,
that tells me.
on a right-hand slant?
I mean, the whole writing goes completely the opposite direction to the rest of the paper.
Oh.
Okay.
So I'll send it to you. Maybe you can post it.
Mm-hmm.
But it shows that he does things his own way. He doesn't want to do things the way everybody else does them.
Well, that's
Again.
that's apparent.
Yeah. So I
he
repeat
mixes
myself.
it
He
up.
wants
That's
everybody
consistent.
he wants everybody else to adjust to him. He's not going to make any adjustments.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
And I'll let people decide from that point. How about Jeb Bush?
Well, Jeb Bush's writing is the absolute opposite in that it's very easygoing. It doesn't have a strong rhythm, and to me, it suggests somebody who is looking for the path of least resistance. I don't think he's got a lot of fight in him.
Well, I think
He
that's
would rather have.
yeah, that's apparent too in the debates.
Yeah.
He would rather have everybody be nice and get along. I think he is more of a follower than a leader.
Okay. What about the doctor? Do you have anything on?
Ben Carson. All I could find with him was a signature, which is just his first initial and very tall capitals and this long stroke to the right, and it comes back to the left. So,
isn't that strong philosophy with the very tall?
well, no, because if it was strong philosophy, that would be the lowercase letters like the L and the H and the B that have a tall upper zone, that reach up. But this is capital letters. And the capital letters and the small letters are different. We look at the proportion between them. When you have extremely tall capitals, like several of these candidates do, it says that they're ambitious and they're reaching up and they're seeing themselves as larger than life.
Mm-hmm.
So the other thing that the overemphasis on the capitals is a great deal of pride in themselves. But the problem here is that in the second name, the first name is just the B, and the second name kind of pushes to the right, which is movement to the right, movement into the future, but it ends on a leftward stroke. So that's like holding out your hand and then pulling it back right when somebody reaches for you.
Oh. Well, what kind of a president would he be?
Well, I'd have to see more of his writing before I could make that kind of a judgment.
Well, and Carly, Fiorina?
Yeah. Again, we just have a signature, but she has a very different kind of signature because it's very clear. But again, we have these really tall capitals that need to reach up and attain something more.
Yeah.
The problem here is that the last stroke on the A goes forward and then it comes back and it points down at her name. So that serves two purposes. It says, on the one hand, look at me, but on the other hand, it hides a lot. It's like she'd rather you didn't look too closely. But her name is clear, the I is round and dotted close to the stem. So she's a perfectionist who's interested in the details. And my friend and colleague Roger Rubin says she eats people for lunch.
Oh, really?
It's a pretty aggressive signature.
Aggressive.
Sounds like Hillary.
Oh.
At any rate, we'll get to that later. We've got a break coming up in a minute. So, but I mean, that's very interesting. A lot of times, we've past presidents have had a lot of problems, and if somebody would have read their handwriting prior to that, they may not have elected them.
That's right.
That's for sure.
Maybe.
But at any rate, we got to take a break, and we'll be right back after these commercials.
When
You're listening to KCAA Loma Linda at 106.5 FM, K293CF Moreno Valley.
Do you like craft beer from microbreweries? Well, I'd like to tell you about Oak Hills Brewing Company in Hesperia. All of their beers are brewed on site from the very best ingredients. Yummy, yummy. Typically, they have between 12 to 14 beers on tap at any given time. And backed by popular demand, Mango Orange Wheat Beer. A delightfully flavored beer with orange and mango juice is a little light citrusy beer with a tropical twist. You can also check into some heavier beers, Grapefruit IPA and the Belgium Triple Redemption. You can also bring the kids. Oak Hills Brewing Company offers 3 crafted sodas, yummy root beer, zesty ginger ale, and cream soda. The kids will love them. You can also visit the tasting room and take the behind-the-scenes brewery tour. Oak Hills Brewing Company in Hesperia. They're open 3 days a week, Thursday from 3 to 9, and Friday and Saturday from 1 till 10. Go up right after you hear the show. For more information, go to their website. It's oakhillsbrewingco.com. oakhillsbrewingco.com. You'll find a map with directions and a list of all their beers. To find the best craft beer in Southern California, just remember Oak Hills Brewing Company in Hesperia. Take the 15 up to the 395, pass 2 signals, and turn right on Poplar. Oak Hills Brewing Company, Hesperia.
You're listening to KCAA, your good neighbor along the way.
Just when you thought you couldn't wait any longer, Lloyd and Greg are back.
We're back, and we're talking to Sheila Lowe, handwriting expert, and we've discussed some of the presidential candidates, the most important ones, I guess, except for the Democratic side. What about Hillary? Everybody's anxious to hear about hers.
Yeah, Hillary, and I have handwriting as well as a signature of hers. I've seen quite a bit of her handwriting over the years. Mm-hmm. And the signature is very clear and simple. I know some people won't agree with this, but it shows that she doesn't have anything to hide. She presents herself as who she is. The capital letters are tall, but they're in proportion to the rest of the writing. The writing is very simplified, and it has an upright to a slight right slant. So that says that she listens to the facts before she makes a decision. She's very flexible, sometimes too much so, and she can make quick changes of direction when necessary. So she's really good at adapting to situations as they develop.
Mm-hmm.
That's my thumbnail sketch.
And no deceit and deception, huh?
Not evident in her handwriting.
Okay. And what about Bernie?
Bernie, he's got kind of conventional writing, and it's very compact with very little space between the words and the lines. This shows his desire to interact with other people, that he's emotional and he reacts quite quickly.
Mm-hmm.
He has a lot to say, obviously. He probably came from a household with strong ideals and strong values, and he's adopted those. He can adapt and make adjustments socially, but he makes sure he's going to get where he wants to go. He has a lot of dynamic energy, and that helps to keep him pushing for what he wants.
Yeah, he's a good speaker. I mean, he draws great crowds, but, you know, the only negative is he's a socialist. So, if, you know, and a lot of people like that now, I guess. He's drawing a lot of...
It depends what it means.
Well, that's true. That's true. But other things that, in handwriting, I used to use it for screening applicants for employment, because you can see, you can tell the crazies, can't you? In most cases.
Yes, you usually can. Yes, I've done many thousands of employment screening analyses. So.
Can people hide their handwriting? Can people disguise their handwriting? Can people disguise their handwriting? Can a crook hide his writing and look honest? Is that possible?
No. Okay. Not really, because if they tried, it's going to show signs that they're messing with it. It's not going to look natural.
Okay.
Trying to hide something. Yeah. We had.
Yeah. The one caveat about that is that if a person doesn't feel guilty about something they're doing, that it may not show up. A sociopath's handwriting doesn't always show strong signs of guilt.
Yeah, I've seen.
They don't feel it.
Several people who were actually murderers, and they didn't. They had no. They were sociopaths.
Okay.
And so, a lot of those are just. But some, over the years, I've noticed that people have asked me, say, what makes your handwriting change? And I said, well, basically, old age, illness, drug addiction,
arthritis,
just some traumatic condition in your life,
emotions,
mental illness. But basically, it.
Yeah, well, there are lots of things, all those things that you listed, and just as people grow and change, your handwriting is a reflection of who you are when you write, and so. Hopefully, your experiences change you in hopefully in positive ways.
Well,
and then eventually the handwriting catches up.
Yeah, if you know about it, then you can improve your handwriting too. If you know what you're doing wrong, and I think that you've got a book out with the basics, the Complete Idiot's Guide to Handwriting Analysis, and I really enjoyed that book since you printed it. And I've given copies to other people. I said, this is the basics. Get the Complete Idiot's Guide to Handwriting Analysis. I think I got it at Amazon.com. It's still there?
Oh, yes. It's published by Penguin, and it's still in print. So it's not difficult to get a copy.
For you people out there that want to know the basics, and this is really a good book, and it'll cover that, so you know your children better, your associates, and if you're dating, my daughter dated a lot of different men over the years, and she'd give me their handwriting, and I'd say, don't go out with this guy, don't do this, and she finally married a guy that was okay, but on his handwriting and everything else, but
I'm glad she listened to you, because my daughter didn't listen to me, and the man murdered her within a year of their meeting.
Oh my God!
And his handwriting did show signs of pathology.
Oh
but,
yeah.
It's one thing. It's one thing to know what it says, but it's another to listen to it.
Oh yes,
that's true.
Without cursive writing in schools, can you read the printed writing? Can you read that, or is that too difficult? Is that?
You mean, can we analyze it?
Yeah, can you analyze it? Can you do what you do?
Yeah,
okay.
There are thousands of variables in handwriting, so just printing still has the space. It has the arrangement on the page, it's space, and the movement, which is rhythm and speed and pressure and lots of other things like that. They're still there.
Okay.
Yeah, I caught an embezzler one time when I worked for Treasury Department. At a bank, there were only about 6 employees working at the time, and he had taken a counter check, and he forged it very well with the lady's signature, but underneath he put the address in printing, and it was quite unique.
Oh, okay.
And I asked to see the employment applications, and when I saw him, I saw that trait, and I said, there's your guy right there. So they called him in, and he confessed. But, I mean, there's certain things, even in printing, if it's really unusual, and a lot of things are, but, there's, I remember years ago I talked to you, Sheila, about a case when I was working with Treasury. John Phillips from the Mamas and the Papas, remember that one?
Yeah.
Yeah,
of course.
We had 2 people. John Phillips had already signed a contract, what is it, Paramount? And to do the Mamas and the Papas film, and then this guy comes out of nowhere with another contract saying, no. He gave me permission while he was in the hospital, and here it is. Well, I could see, nobody wanted to handle that case in L.A.
Oh, I bet.
Because John Phillips was an alcoholic. He had drugs. He'd been in rehab and all these other things. So I said, I need 10 years of his samples or exemplars in order to look at this. And I actually looked at it and I said, this, I can see a little variation. He was all over the place in many of his signatures, but there was some consistency. So I called Sheila. I couldn't do it when I worked for Treasury.
Okay.
And I handed it over to her. And it was forged, right?
Yes, as I recall, I know that my client who referred to me won the case.
Yeah.
But it was, as I say, nobody else would handle it. So I think Sheila's quite good at that. It's just, you have to keep going back, and there was tons of checks. I still have those, by the way, and a prenup and a little bit of everything. But that handwriting was terrible. It was just all over the place. But
you have to when you do handwriting authentication, which is actually these days it's most of my work, testifying in cases of forgery. But you have to look at all those things that you mentioned, like if a person is using drugs or if they're ill and they're on medication or they've had an accident, what their age is, and all of those factors that affect handwriting have to be taken into consideration.
Yeah, and I've had people come to me with a handwritten will, and they said, wait a minute, I don't think she did this. And when I tell them that she did it, they don't want to go to court with that. But, those are things.
That's why you collect the money up front.
That's right, yeah. But it's really important, and it does weed out a lot of undesirables. And I found that over the years, if I had, a desire, what was it, jealousy and resentment together in a handwriting makes a bad employee. Okay. Because they're the ones that carry the tails and they want to get ahead and they, report the other one to the supervisors. But the trait by itself is okay, isn't it?
No, I wouldn't like either one of those. That would be bad in a
well, I've got
personal relationship too.
I've got resentment in my handwriting, and I know that, but it's resentment of authority for being in the service, and I don't want somebody telling me what to do. So it's obvious that I have that trait, and I know I can't get rid of it. But if I had, I'm not jealous, but I find those two traits together made a bad employee. But
I wouldn't disagree with you.
What other things should we look for in handwriting that the average person could look for?
For what? There's so much.
Oh, yeah.
It's something that takes, to become a handwriting analyst takes a minimum of 2 years of serious study.
Mm-hmm.
I have an online course.
So it's not an easy read.
You have an online course. You want to give out your website?
Oh, sure. It's just my name, SheilaLowe.com. SheilaLowe. And there's a link there. And it's a self-study course, so it's like you do it in your own time. It has printed material, but it also has 13 one-hour videos of a class that I taught online last year.
And
it's the Gestalt method.
Oh, yeah. You also have one for business also, don't you?
Not a course.
Well, it's
I do
how to analyze.
Analysis.
Yeah. And
I think you have 111 items online. I'm looking at your items. You have 111 items online.
You do?
That's what Sheila has listed.
After almost 50 years of doing this, I started studying in 1967. I have produced a lot of material.
Yeah, you have.
Well, we got to take another break for a commercial, and we'll be right back right after this.
Is it that time your car needs a smog check? Well, check out Quick Smog Check in Montclair. They guarantee your vehicle will pass or you pay not a thing. That's right. If it doesn't pass the test, what the heck? You don't have to pay. So what's the reason why you're not calling them? The number 626-5436. You can also drive right down there now. 5438 Holt Boulevard in Montclair. They're open 9 to 5, 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday. Do it now. No wait smog checks at Quick Smog Check in Montclair. 909-626-5436.
Kcaa.
Still mad as hell? Lloyd and Greg are back.
Yes, and we're talking to Sheila Lowe, handwriting expert. Sheila, there.
I'm here.
A lot of people don't understand the importance of handwriting, and they equate it with astrology or, fortune telling, and it's nothing like that. And I think it's been proven. There's Europe, they offer degrees, and they should in this country too, instead of offering certain things like dancing lessons and things like that.
All kinds of funny stuff.
Well, let me interrupt you there and correct that, because that used to be true about Europe. It's not true anymore.
Oh, it's not?
No.
No. In fact, in most countries in Europe, the situation with handwriting is pretty much the same way it is here these days, unfortunately.
I'll be darned.
But there's handwriting analysts around the world who are working to change that back, because handwriting analysis is really a branch of psychology.
Well,
so
yeah.
That's really where it belongs.
I mean, that's where it was founded anyway, over in Europe, and then it came over here.
Yes.
And they put a lot more importance upon it at one time, I guess. I guess I'm behind the times. But I was reading somewhere where they said that they still give degrees in that, but I guess not. Maybe the reporter was...
Yeah, that has been repeated a lot, and I believed it too until just a few years ago when somebody did some research and showed that it really was not the case anymore.
Yeah. Well, I think, I think every teacher out there should know handwriting analysis. Then they could measure their children's progress, and some are slow learners, and you've got to adjust to that. And a lot of times they're mislabeled and held back because of that. And you could recognize that with handwriting, right?
Yeah, but the problem is, yes, you could, but now they're not teaching handwriting, and a lot of the younger teachers refuse to teach cursive writing. So what happens is the learning disorders are increasing, and the children with learning disorders get sent to occupational therapists, and guess what the occupational therapists do? They teach them cursive, and they find that the kids improve.
Oh yeah, that's
so
right.
If they were teaching it still in the schools, they wouldn't have to send so many kids to occupational therapists.
They should take those studies and present them to Congress.
Yeah, there you go.
And have somebody write a bill saying that this is something we should continue doing in schools. So if any congressman out there, and I know a potential congressman, he was on our show, and if he gets elected, I'll put a bug in his ear. But what about any, for instance, how can an employer benefit from this if you're screening applicants?
Well, whether it's a very small company or a very large company, you're going to benefit by having the best possible team, because you'll know how they can work together, and also in discipline, you know what approach works best.
Yeah.
So you can really build the best team using handwriting analysis.
Well, I know I used to use it to pick out the extroverts and introverts. The introverts, if I needed somebody to work on a computer in the back room, then that's fine. If I needed a receptionist out front, I needed an extrovert. Right. So, these things you can determine, whereas a long time, customer service today is miserable in a lot of places, and if they would analyze those person's handwriting, they could find the ones that are outgoing and cheerful and those that are, introverts. You found that to be
there's
true?
Nothing wrong, and as a dyed-in-the-wool introvert, let me say there's nothing wrong with being an introvert. But, we just fit into different places than extroverts.
Well, that's true. But I knew a radio announcer that was a total introvert, and yet his public image was an extrovert. And he went out there and really did a great job as an announcer. And yet he was shy, withdrawn in his own personal life. So I guess it's a Dr. Jekyll and Hyde personality in that sense. But
well, we call that a converted introvert, somebody who knows how to act in a more extroverted way when they need to.
Yeah.
But it's not comfortable. Like, an introvert is energized by being alone and doing things internally, whereas an extrovert is energized by being with other people and being external.
Yeah, well, that's a good definition.
Is the handwriting determined? Can you determine a person? I'm a claustrophobic. Would my handwriting necessarily show that?
Yeah, it probably would. There's no. I can't say it would absolutely look like this and describe a writing because it might be different from one person to another. It might be that you have very crowded writing because, it's like taking up all space because you have a fear of. I'm not explaining it well, but I'd have to look at the writing.
Yeah.
It will manifest differently for different people, is what I'm really trying to say.
Okay. So everybody's different. The claustrophobia that I might show might not be the claustrophobia that somebody else might show then.
Yeah, you might manifest it differently in your handwriting. So send me your writing so I can see what it looks like.
Okay.
Now, Sheila, you wrote a book on serial killers. And that one, what's the name of it?
It's not a whole book. It's just a monograph, which is like a long article. It's called Serial Killers, the Face of Evil.
Yeah, and it did show in their writing.
Well, that was what the point of my study was. Does that show in the writing? And really, there's no one thing you can point to. There were always danger signs, like red flags for pathology, but there was no one thing you could point to and say this person is going to be a serial killer.
Yeah, that's true.
But there certainly were danger signs.
Just like the the felon's claw. That's not necessarily.
The felon's claw. No, the felon's claw is mostly seen in young women who have been sexually abused. It's a sign of guilt more than felony.
Yeah. And but those reports, I found years ago. I did some studies with the patients out at Patton State Hospital, and I got about 50 samples just to look at it as a study. And 3 of them, I said, I can't find anything wrong. I said, these people are absolutely, it looks normal. And they said, those are the counselors. They threw those in there to see if you could, that did show.
It did show, huh?
It made a believer out of the psychiatrist that used to, I told him, I says, you do a DAP, which is draw a person, and that's an accepted, test for people and personalities. And I said, have them write these sentences. I want to see a whole page and have them sign it. And I came up with more traits than he determined from DAP. And so that made a believer of him. But, a lot of times you have a better knowledge of things with graphology than you do with these standardized tests.
Would medication change the results if they were medicated or not?
Well, it might.
Change it maybe?
Yeah, it could. But these are all projective tests, and handwriting could be, some people see it as a projective test, like draw a person or as a house tree person or any of those kinetic family drawings.
Yeah.
So, they should all be used together.
And the police department, they used to call me regularly for forgeries, things like that. But, and it was fairly easy because the forgery was so terrible. And yet, the bank didn't even look at it. They just went ahead and passed it in. I said, definitely a forgery. You didn't have to come to me for that. But a lot of times they have staff today on police departments that do graphology, handwriting analysis. And then, I had a friend of mine's in the FBI. He was their major profiler, and he did lie detector tests. And now he's got a private practice in Hollywood. But Jack Tremarco, he's Dr. Phil's consultant. And one time I said, I want to see some of the people you're working with on your lie detector, on your polygraph tests. And he showed me samples, and one was in Spanish. And I told him, I said, this is a dangerous individual. I said, my God, here's this, this, and this. And he said, yeah, the guy killed 3 people.
Even in Spanish, huh?
Well, it can be in any, Italian, Spanish.
Sure.
I can't do Chinese. I can't do, the Asian.
That's what I was going to ask you. Do you have to read the language?
Arabic. I can't do that.
I do Arabic and Hebrew, and I have done some other Chinese and Japanese, although it's a little harder.
Chinese, they do have handwriting analysts over there that can do that, and they're very good at it. But, basically, we're about running out of time. Is there anything else you'd like to tell the people? And your website again?
It's SheilaLowe.com, and I also am a mystery writer, a published mystery writer, and my mystery series is about a forensic handwriting analyst.
Oh.
And there are 5 books currently published in the series. The website for that one is ClaudiaRoseSeries.com.
Okay. And they could find that on your website?
Yeah, I'm sure there's a link to that, but it has its own website, ClaudiaRoseSeries.com.
Yeah. And I want to recommend the Complete Idiot's Guide to Handwriting Analysis by Sheila Lowe. Remember, get that on Amazon because that's your basics. If you want to go into more information about it, you should take one of our classes. And they're, as they say, online. So we really appreciate you coming on, and I'll talk to you later. We may have you on again.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Sheila.
Bye-bye. So that was very informative.
Yes, very good.
I wanted to emphasize the
something different, something that people don't even think about anymore.
Well, yeah, they just do it. But
they just do it, or somebody does it, and they hear about it. They go on a stage show. I guess they still do it some.
You don't realize when you're writing down that's your personality.
Your personality is going out on the sheet, yeah.
Does it say, is it good, is it bad?
Yeah, there's the writing of a claustrophobic.
Do I need a psychiatrist? Whatever. Well, I haven't looked at it.
I'm not letting you look at it either. I'm giving it to you far away.
Well, I know my faults, but there's very few.
Yeah, they're very limited, right? Just like your writing. You type everything, right?
I know I'm not a narcissist.
Yeah, I know I'm not a narcissist. Yeah, I know I don't make it there.
You didn't?
No,
but
never.
If, as they say, she's got a great book out there, that basic book is really good.
She's got an incredible list of things she has.
You should get that book.
In her deal.
Not that expensive. The Complete Idiot's Guide to Handwriting Analysis by Sheila Lowe.
Yeah, she's got a...
And it tells you about emotions and things like that. Just unbelievable information for very little price.
Yeah, here's her store.
You got to write it down. So until next week...
Who are we going to have next week? I haven't even thought about it. Have you?
Workman's comp thing, wasn't it?
Okay, that's what we're working on, right?
Yeah.
I haven't got my site set up. So.
He said it's workman's comp is an adventure in hell.
It is. I've been 13 years through mine. Finished it in August. And it is. You talk about being mad as hell. Tried being mad as hell for 13 years.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
This is 1050 AM KCAA Loma Linda and 106.5 FM Yucaipa.
Your NBC Sports Radio update starts now.
Let's check the college football scoreboard. Games in progress. Second quarter, number 24 UCLA out in front of Colorado by a score of 7-0. Josh Rosen to Paul Perkins on that score. Georgia and number 11 Florida playing right now in the first quarter. No score in the game yet with 7 minutes to go in the opening quarter. NC State leading number 3 Clemson for the moment, 12-7 in the first. 14th ranked Oklahoma leading Kansas